My next guest takes on Sijara Eubanks coming up here at UFC Fight Night 131 on June 1st. It is Lauren Murphy joining me here on the program. Lauren, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm still trying to figure out how to hold my phone so that
You're doing
for the
great. So far, so good. Congrats right off the bat. You're coming off the split decision over Barb Honchek. Were you worried at all about the judges when it did go to the distance? Because you never know with judges sometimes, right?
Yeah, you never know, and I've definitely had my heart broken a couple times in some fights, but we were pretty confident that day. Just that whole week was really good for us. Just the feeling that was associated with that fight week and the attitude that I had going into it, I think was so good. And we were so positive that carried right on through after the fight and everything. So we felt good about the judges. Like I felt like I won that fight. I thought the judges were going to give it to me. Even when they said it was a split decision, I thought there's no way. Like, they're going to give it to me. It's going to be fine.
And that fight was in December, and here we are talking about a fight in June. Was this the right amount of time off for you, or did you want to get in there a little bit sooner?
I don't really care. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind taking time off between fights because I just keep getting better and better. I work really hard between my fights to improve. So, the longer it takes to get back in the ring, the better I'll be. But it's fun to fight back to back too. I feel like you can make progress that way as well. So, yeah, either way, it's fine.
No, that's a great way to look at it. And I mentioned off the top, you're taking on Sijara Eubanks, who you were on the show with. Is this fight personal at all, or did they sort of kind of blow that up on the way they edited the show?
They kind of blew it up a little bit, and I think Sijara's kind of blown it up a little bit, but like, I could give a fuck, honestly. Like, I don't care. It could be anybody across the ring from me, and to me, like, I haven't done anything wrong, really. Like, Sijara was mad that, I tried to take her spot in the tournament when she missed weight, and to me, that's just what a smart competitor does. Like, everybody should have been trying to do that on that show. So I don't feel bad about that. And then when she did miss weight at the finale for the title, to me, it was just like, well, see, like, looks like I was doing the right thing because I did the exact same thing at the finale. I got back into I got back on the fight card and was able to have a good performance. So to me, that kind of put it all to rest. Like, I felt like, I guess I felt vindicated, I felt like what I had been trying to tell everybody this whole time finally came to fruition, and for it to all work out like that, it was a good way for me to just put an end to the Ultimate Fighter. And now moving forward in my career, I could face any of those girls, but it's just going to be another fight in the UFC. It's not tough anymore to me.
Is that a concern for you at all ahead of this matchup, her missing weight again? I know from what I interviewed her, she's been working with the PI, so it seems like she's got sort of a good program in place for her to make weight.
Yeah, I think she can make weight. I thought she was going to make weight at the finale. I was shocked that she didn't. So I'm just planning on her making weight. I'm planning on her being in the best shape she's ever been in. I do hope that she kind of gets it together, because how embarrassing. If she misses weight again, the UFC will cut her, and I think she's good enough to be in the UFC. Like, I would honestly not like to see that, so hopefully she will. The New York Commission is a little sketch. Like, I guess they called off the Holloway fight because they just looked at Holloway and it looked like he was having a tough time cutting weight. And so, I've seen Sijara cut weight. She's kind of a wreck when she does it. So
that's
she better suck it up
when the
conviction comes around,
Yeah. No, that's true. That definitely could be a factor. So just looking at the matchup on paper, how do you feel like you sort of match up against her in this fight?
I think she's really tough. We sparred a couple times on the Ultimate Fighter, and we've rolled together a few times. And she's a tough girl. She's a good jiu-jitsu player. She's heavy on top. She's good at punishing people and then passing and punishing them some more. Like, she's got some really good fine-tuned points to her fight game. So I think for me, it's just important for me to be well-rounded, like, kind of no matter who I'm fighting. So yeah, we haven't really like put it together like a specific game plan for Sijara more than we do for anybody else. Like, the plan is always, I always say this before every fight, the plan is always the same. It's just to whoop their ass,
Right.
So yeah. And in the UFC, really at the highest level, you have to be good at everything. You can't have any holes in your game. Even the guys out there that like stand-up isn't their thing, they're still really good stand-up fighters. Guys out there that are not known for their jiu-jitsu are still really good on the ground. And so that's just kind of the nature of fighting anymore, and you have to be good at MMA. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing my best, and I think she will be too.
And of course, you train at a great camp, the MMA Lab. Just so many good fighters there that go through. Who have been some of the people you've mainly been working with? I know it's a big gym, but is there anyone you sort of train more with than others?
Yeah, I work a lot with Courtney Casey. She's a really good training partner for me. There's a lot of guys that I work with too. Like Sean's injured right now, so he's not in the gym as much, but we have the same boxing coach. I work a lot with Tim Welch. Let me think about that. There's some amateur guys that are coming up that I like to work with a lot. They're super tough. They give me a really good look. Some of them have been wrestling a long time, or their striking is really refined. And so, yeah, any guys that are my size, really, I like to work with.
And I know one of the people that you used to train with a bit, Mackenzie Dern, and obviously it came out that she's not at the lab anymore. Has that impacted your training at all, just not having her as an extra body?
It's sad. I really like training with Mackenzie, and I care about her a lot. So it is sad to have somebody that high level grappling to not be around and help me out a little bit. But I think that girl was born to be on a beach, you know what I mean? And we're in a desert out here. So I think she's happier in San Diego. I saw her at the UFC Glendale and we chatted a little bit, but I get really good work with the people that are at our gym, and it's big enough that, even without Mackenzie being there, I'm still getting good work on the ground. I'm still going with, hard goes with good guys and good girls too. So we definitely miss Mackenzie a lot, but I think it was a good decision for everyone.
And who's going to be in your corner for this fight? Do you know that yet?
Yeah, my husband is always in my corner,
that's right,
and
yeah.
then Tim Welch and John.
How do you see this fight playing out on June 1st?
I don't know. I think it's going to be really exciting. Even with her hard weight cuts and stuff, she fights hard, and she'll fight hard for 3 rounds. So I don't think really her cardio is going to be an issue. My cardio's never been an issue. We're both pretty well rounded, honestly. So I think it's just going to be whoever can just push harder that night.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to this at all. If you haven't, obviously we can move on. But Nicco Montano, who's on your show, on your season, and she's the champ right now. She went on this big post about Ariel Helwani. Did you see all that? And if so, what were your thoughts on it?
I did, and I'm so glad you asked me about that because Nicco's not afraid of shit. I don't know who's getting that idea that Nicco is scared of Valentina Shevchenko, but I lived with that girl. I trained with that girl. I fought that girl. And I'll tell you something, she's not afraid of anybody. And I don't think she's afraid of Shevchenko, but I do think that she's been sick, and I think she wants to be healthy before she fights again. And I think that's fair, look, the girls from Tough, you got Sijara, who missed weight. She hasn't fought in 6 months. Sijara's literally never fought in the UFC, and they're putting her in this big fight and giving her all these opportunities to succeed, but Nicco can't be sick. She just fought 5 times in 4 months. She won the inaugural title. She has every right to take a break if she wants to. And I just think this idea that she's afraid of Shevchenko I think people are underestimating her quite a bit. And I think it's sad. I kind of feel for her. I've been on the wrong end of some hate online and stuff, and most of the time the fans just don't know what they're talking about, and they're just going to kind of blindly go with whatever they think is going on. But anybody that's met Nicco knows how hard she works and how brave she is, and she's a very good fighter, and she belongs in the UFC. She belongs right where she's at. So I'm actually really looking forward to that fight. I'm not counting Nicco out of that fight at all with Shevchenko, and Shev is tough. She's a monster. It's hard to pick against her, but man, Nicco's really strong, and she's really good. She's tricky. She's kind of got that new school style. It's hard to predict. And I'm really looking forward to that fight, and it's going to happen. And I think Nicco's going to step up.
Well, I think part of the problem was that, I think Ariel, because she was going after him about what he was reporting and stuff. And I think part of it was that I think Nicco was posting updates on her Instagram about the fact that she, was having these health issues, and the UFC was aware of it. But then Ariel's making it out there's nothing going on. So I don't know if he just didn't check or what happened, or his sources weren't in the loop. But I think that's where that disconnect came. And then I'm sure you have these idiot fans, because fans, like you said, they take a narrative, and the narrative is Shevchenko's the real champ. She's the uncrowned champ. She's going to, and then you have all these people going at her. So I get it from her perspective, but I also understand from Ariel where it's he didn't say anything really bad, but it doesn't help the narrative that I just described there, which is fans saying that she's scared, which is bullshit. Come on.
Yeah, and Ariel definitely implied that. That tweet that he sent out about Nicco was unnecessary. Nicco's response was probably a little unnecessary, but I understand that because it hurts when people say things about you that aren't true. That hurt. And when people talk about you online and they say nasty shit about you, Nicco's been working her ass off, and she's achieved far more than anybody thought she had any right to. She had a tough bracket on The Ultimate Fighter. She walked through it really well. She went and won the belt, and now people are going to turn around and start saying she's scared. It just seems like it just seems really ridiculous. And I would be hurt too if I were hurt. It does hurt when people say things like that about you.
On a more positive note, I imagine you're getting a little bit of downtime in between training camp and all that. I know, obviously, your family, a woman, and everything like that. But are you watching any like Netflix or anything like that? Anything to kind of take your mind off training and everything else?
Well, my husband's super into Westworld, so we do watch that sometimes. I got into The Handmaid's
Tale. Yeah, my wife's watching that. Yeah, it's supposed to be good.
Yeah. So I want to start the second season pretty soon, but we watch a lot of fights and we watch a lot of like jiu-jitsu matches. The other day we sat down and watched a bunch of wrestling matches on Flow Wrestling, and like that's my idea of a good time. I know it's so boring. We are so boring.
No, that's good. You got to keep up what's going on. I was going to actually ask you about, there's a guy who fought on Flow Combat, Mark Martin. He trains with you guys. He's a decorated wrestler. He won at V3 fights in his debut. Jakar Close, I know, raves about him. How good is he? Do you ever get to train with him at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he's in the room with us. He's a big guy, so he kind of trains with the bigger guys, but he's going to be a monster. He's going to be so good. And he's just kind of starting to really integrate himself with our team and get to know everybody. He really, he's only trained with us like for several months.
Yeah, it was recent, his move, yeah.
Yeah, pretty recently. So we're all still just kind of getting to know him, but he's a hard worker. He's obviously a very good wrestler, and I think he's going to go really, really far. We all really like Mark a lot.
And we really like this fight coming up here on June 1st. Lauren, it was great getting a chance to talk to you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs or anything like that, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm at Lauren Murphy MMA all over the place, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, so you can come find me and chit-chat with me. I usually do answer to fans, especially on Instagram. And then make sure you tune in June 1st. And yeah, thanks to my family and my team. And I think that's it. Thank you.